ready for another learning? Well, that's great because in today's episode, we will be talking about pre-colonial literature. Get ready to learn with me in Happy Mind, Happy Life. This is me, Teacher Crystal. Shall we start? Great! Let's talk about pre-colonial literature. Did you know that pre-colonial literature includes all literary works that are produced before the Spanish colonization? These are chants, proverbs, songs, and, of course, folk narratives. Yes, you heard me right. This, and this are all literary works before we are actually colonized by the Spaniards. Philippine folk narratives are varied and distinct, meaning to say that all literary works depict on the people's livelihood, customs, and of course, the tradition. Moreover, let me introduce to you the 7 literary works that we have. The first one is the riddles, or what we call bugtong in Filipino term. It is made up of 1 or more measured lines and with rhymes and may consist of 4 to 12 syllables. This is also a practice of Filipino citizens to showcase their wits, literary talent, and keen observation of the surroundings. Yes, let me give you an example. In English, higher when I'm sitting, lower when I'm standing. What am I? Yes, it's a dog. Number 2, we have proverbs, or in Filipino term, it is called salawikain or sawikain. Okay, so salawikain or sawikain are considered as epigrams, maxims, or proverbs. These are all wise sayings that contains metaphor that is used to teach us food for thought. Let's take a look at this example. Or in English term, if you persevere, you will reap the fruits of your labor. This is one example of salawikain because it involves wise sayings, while this phrase is one example of sawikain. Number 3, we have myths. These are actually known as a traditional story occurring in timeless past. When we say timeless past, it is occurring way beyond our existence and are actually passed and taken seriously from one generation to another. It is particularly the description of gods or other supernatural creatures engaged in unusual occurrences or circumstances. It is particularly the description of gods or other supernatural creatures engaged in unusual occurrences or circumstances in an identified time that is believed to exist outside of the world of human daily experience. Meaning to say that myths are a symbolic story, typically of unknown origin and at least partially traditional, that describes real events and is particularly connected to religion. Yes, it differs from symbolic behavior such as cult, ritual, symbol application, symbolic things like temples or icons. Okay? Now, this is the example of myths that we have here in the Philippines. The first one is the gods and goddesses from Ilocos, why there is a high tide during a full moon from Ibanag, why the dead come back no more from Ifugao. And of course, number 4, we have the legend. It is more like portraying a human hero rather than gods or goddesses. Like folk tales and content, they may contain magical creatures, mythological themes, or explanation for natural phenomena. but they are linked to a specific place or person and are given as histories. It usually involves heroic characters or wonderful places and are often surrounded with the spiritual beliefs of the culture which they belong. Okay? So one of the famous legends here in our country is the pirates and mermaids. Moreover, here are the examples of legend stories here in our country. The Legend of Sleeping Beauty from Kalinga, Legend of Dama de Noche, and the Legend of Banana Plant. Number 5, we have the epic. Epic is a long poem, typically one derived from ancient oral tradition, narrating the deeds and adventures of heroic legendary figures or the history of a nation. So meaning to say that in epics, the clue here is the commemoration of the good deeds or achievement of a certain hero or character. One example of this one is Biag ni Lamang from Ilocos. You're familiar with that, of course. Hudhud ni Aligayon from Ifugao. Number 6, we have the folk tales. These are stories or beliefs in oral tradition and which are passed by to a common people. One example for this one is Juan Gathers Guava, a Tagalog folktale. Lastly, we have the folk songs. It is a traditional song and melodies that includes traditional folk music and contemporary genre. This expresses the people's hope, aspiration, and lifestyle. I bet that you already have listened to some of these examples. We have the Uyayi or lullaby, the Kumintang or war song, the Kundiman melancholic love song, the Harana or the serenade, and so many more. And that's our lesson. I hope that you have been enlightened and stay tuned for more upcoming lessons. And once again, thank you for joining Teacher Crystal and Happy Mind, Happy Life. Goodbye, guys!